I should get some woods for the background for this one.
Yeah.
I think so. Of course, they're not dark, scary woods, but they're still woods.
They're still woods.
Yes.
Primarily Critical.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Primarily Critical. If movies had an after party, this would be it.
If you have not seen this film, we suggest that you do so before listening any further.
Because we've got spoilers, trivia, and opinions like crazy, and we can't wait to share them.
Good, bad, new, old, weird, gross.
We pass judgment on them all.
Today, bureaucracy is everywhere. My name is Steve. I'm here with
John.
Today we're covering The Cabin in the Woods. This was my pick.
This was your pick. Why did you pick this, Steve?
I wanted a clever horror movie, and I Googled that. I Googled it, clever horror movies.
Interesting.
And The Cabin in the Woods showed up. I remembered another friend of mine suggested it. And so I said, let's do it.
So you had not seen this before. This was your brand new watch. Okay.
Brand
nice.
new. I haven't even seen the trailer.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I did not know what I was getting into.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it certainly is a different sort of horror movie. It's unique. I mean, you know, it's not something you could compare really to a lot of other horror movies.
It's very different. It's very different.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So I guess hell has like this division on Earth.
Yeah, and it seems like pleasing Satan or the devil or hell or whatever you want to call it,
right,
has become a science. This has become an industry, a science, and high tech. In fact, very high tech.
Very high tech. Yes.
Yeah. And if I understood this correctly, this is happening in countries all around the world, right? They certainly brought up Japan a number of times. Now we at least know what was happening. What I assume was the United States and in Japan.
Right. And so I guess they have to sacrifice people to appease the evil gods, and there's all these like I don't know, corporations doing that.
Right.
All over the world.
As a corporation, how do you make a bid for this? It's like, you know, I think we could do it better. I think we could do it cheaper. I think we could do this better. You know, I mean, it seems that's the road they've gone down here, right? I mean,
it really does.
These guys are really taking pride in their expertise there, you know.
They are. You know, I have an interesting question for you, John. When they were driving towards the cabin,
yes,
they pass by that gas station, and we can talk about that too. But they go through a tunnel.
Yeah.
And then the camera finds a bird in the sky, and the bird flies around, and then it hits the force field and dies horribly.
Yes.
How many birds do you think that force field has killed?
Oh, you know, there's got to be tons. There's got to be a pile of bird skeletons at the bottom of that force field. Yeah.
The mountains of them at the bottom of the gorge.
Tons. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I don't know what permeates that force field. They didn't really go into details about this force field. Like, can water go through? Can rain go through it? Or, you know, is it just completely non-permeable? I'm assuming air goes through. I mean, we know that.
Oh, see, these are great questions.
But, you know, we don't know that. We're not going to know that. That's just left to the imagination. We know birds can't go through. So
we know birds can't go through.
And we know motorcycles. Yeah, that's right.
We're assuming air can get through. But then again, they have temperature controls for different sections of the.
True. So maybe
the
maybe the air doesn't permeate it. It's just a total artificial environment on the inside of the shield there.
It's
you know?
crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. No, I have a question for you. As this, were you confused? Now, this is my second time watching this, so it's hard to remember exactly what I was thinking the first time. But were you confused? What are these? There's two storylines going on simultaneously. Now, the easy one to follow is these young people going out to a cabin, and that's a simple story. But the other story, these guys wearing the score, did you find that confusing as hell for the first while?
The kids going into the woods?
No. The other story, the guys working in the corporation, like the whatever, can't remember what's his name. Like you had the story of the corporate guys.
Yeah. Those two corporate bigwigs. They're
right.
Controlling.
Did
everything.
you find that story as it was progressing? Like, what is this about? Why do they keep interjecting these guys and their corporate storyline in the middle of this young people going out to the cabin? Do you find that a little weird? Like, it difficult to understand why they were, or what was?
No, I think I caught on really quick. Like what they had an agent on top of the building that told them when they left.
Yes.
And
that's true. That's true. Yes, they did.
and then we had this gas station attendant, a really, really bad gas station attendant, calling in to them. So I knew that this was some kind of staged event.
Right.
And when they started placing bets, I assumed immediately that this was like some kind of killing floor deal.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so you caught on. See, I couldn't remember where I was the last time I watched that, if that was difficult or not. But glad to hear that was made sense, because I was thinking maybe this doesn't make sense to people who didn't know, but apparently it did. So that's good.
Okay, so Chris Hemsworth character, his name is Kurt. His name is Kurt.
Kurt, yes.
The prettiest man there. There's a moment where he's escaping from the cabin, and you assumed he was dead.
Yeah, a big knife down his back.
Yeah, he had a knife down his back, but they all went to their bedrooms. Dana and Holden escaped into the basement. Carl found them.
Got technical problems here, Steve.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Earbuds have punked out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you were asking me about something. I now I can't remember. Sorry, I guess.
Long story short, there was a moment where I thought Kurt was with the government agency. It was the moment where they were running out, and he said, "No, Marty's dead. Marty's dead." And then I thought, and they just assumed, and they believed him, right? And I was thinking, wait a minute, isn't this supposed to be his cousin's cabin, right? I mean, so
right.
So
didn't someone say he doesn't have a cousin somewhere along there?
Yeah, they did. They did. So I did you have that moment at all?
I did not have that moment. No, I don't think I put that much thought into this movie, but if it's a good thought. I think I could see why you would have thought that, because he was the curator of this whole weekend.
He was. It was. I think it was his mobile home and all the business. Yeah.
It does bring up the question, though. If this obviously his cousin didn't buy this cabin. This cabin is set up. I mean, maybe his cousin did, but you really got to question, how does this cabin keep falling into how do they keep baiting people to come out to this cabin? They keep putting up for sale or something, and they get a buyer and even more. And it sounds like there was a lot of pre-work to this, because they needed to have an athlete, they needed to have a scholar, they needed to have, I can't remember what the 5 were, right? But they needed to have,
The athlete, the scholar, the shall we say, promiscuous lady,
okay.
and then the fool and the virgin.
Ah, the fool and the virgin. There you go. Right. Yeah. So that's not an easy task. If you need that exact type of 5 people as a group of friends, I don't think any of my group of friends would all fit into that category and be, they're very different types of people, right? Usually athletes hang out with other athletes and fools hang out with other fools, right? And
Well, this is true, but at the end of the movie, we meet Sigourney Weaver, who's the director, right?
yes.
And she she says, "You're the virgin," and she's like, "I'm the virgin," and she's like, she says something. We take what we can get. Or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
That's a great line.
Yeah. Right. Oh, the implications of that, we could go into details, but maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so they have to do this. It sounds like this is an annual thing. Every year, they have to get those 5 types to die out at this cabin.
Okay, I don't remember the yearly thing, but yeah. I'm with you.
For some reason, I thought that was the case. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's more longer than that. But for some reason, I thought it was like an annual thing. But certainly, there's a period of time they have to do this every so often, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you see the? Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Did you see the list of monsters that they had? But they had.
I mean,
when they were placing bets. When they had the list of all the bets that people had on all the different monsters, I paused the movie and I wrote down all the monsters that they had.
Oh, do tell.
Okay. I hope this doesn't get too boring. We got werewolf, alien beast, mutants, wraiths, zombies, reptilis, clowns, witches, sexy witches, demons, Hell Lord, angry molesting tree.
Oh my God. That sounds horrible.
Giant snake, deadites, Kevin, mummy, the bride, the scarecrow folks, snowmen, dragon, bat, vampires, dismemberment goblins, Sugar Plum Fairy, Merman, the reanimated unicorn, the Huron, the Sasquatch, dolls, the doctors, and there's 4 more. A zombie redneck torture family, and then we got jack-o'-lantern, a giant, and twins.
Unbelievable. So they have that must be quite the outfit they've got set out by that cabin to be able to pull off all of that. That's quite something. Now, from that list, if I had to put like the worst one, that's got to be the molesting tree. I mean, that sounds horrific, right? And the best would be the sexy witches. I don't know what kind of death that looks like, but
I want to know.
I mean, I think there's got to be worse ways to go.
Yeah.
No,
definitely. Definitely. I would go for the sexy witches if I had to pick my death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Well, I thought you might like that. And I was when the movie got towards the end and all this craziness was happening and I had no idea it was coming. I was trying to pick out my newly minted list. I was trying to pick out all the creatures, and there was a lot of matches there, but there was also some that I wasn't sure about whether they were there or not. But or whether they had extra demons.
And then so it also seemed like whatever they well, I'm sure this is the case. They trigger it by certain artifacts in the cabin there. So they go down the basement. The basement's filled with things, right? So
Yeah.
probably every one of those things is a trigger. That's how you determine your fate, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Right. Now, did you see a sexy witch down there?
I did not. I did not
No.
see any sexy witches. John,
Yeah. If I watch it again,
now
I'm looking,
now I'm really concerned about these sexy witches.
yeah, I'm gonna look in that basement, and if there's a sequel, hopefully the people they're like, wait, I've heard about this. You got to look for the sexy witches, and maybe they'll find them.
Maybe they'll find them. I mean, please,
Mhm.
if you're watching this and you know what we're talking about, comment. We want to know what you think.
Yeah, or if you ever find yourself in a cabin full of weird artifacts, look for the sexy witches.
That's right. And please avoid any and all angry molesting trees.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know what that looks like, but I can only imagine. Geez, a branch in places you just don't want it to be.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
There's a molesting tree in the movie. What is it? Evil Dead.
Okay, I was going to ask you this. Does this cabin not look very similar to the cabin in Evil Dead?
Yeah, yeah, complete with the basement of bad news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it I don't know if it's in the trivia. I haven't read the trivia, but is that something? And do you know if that's actually the same cabin or?
I don't. Not in the trivia I have.
Not in the trivia. Okay,
No.
yeah, because it looked familiar, but then again, I have seen this before, so maybe I'm crossing wires in my brain.
It's possible.
This happens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of horror movies with a cabin in the woods. Almost every single Friday the 13th has a cabin in the woods.
Yes.
And well, there's a few others, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have any more questions, John, or do we want to move on to this trivia?
I don't think so. No, I think we've covered the things I was wondering about. So yeah, let's move on to the trivia. Why not? It'll probably spark more discussion anyway. So
absolutely. Oh yes, this first one.
Yes.
The thermal mug, coffee mug bong, was a fully functional mug and bong as portrayed in the film. The prototype cost $5,000 to make.
Wow. And no one took this prototype and went with it and marketed this thing. Can we not buy these things today?
Maybe. We should look it up.
I don't smoke weed, but I think for those people that do, this is a must have.
Yeah. Well, shit, I would smoke weed just to try this thing out.
I might start smoking weed if I got one of these.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a phenomenal little device there.
Yes. Very nice. Okay. During the lake scene, the only student not to jump in the lake was Marty, who remains fully clothed on the dock. This was partially due to Fran Kranz's noticeably being in as good, if not better shape than the other male students. In the commentary for the film, the writers joked that he was ripped like muscular Jesus and assert that if Marty were shown being that fit, it would have ruined the character. This is partly also why Marty wears baggier clothes than the other students. I see. So he can't look like the jock. He's the fool.
He's the fool. He's supposed, yeah. He can't be sexy.
Right. Interesting. But I mean, that really plays into his character too, though. There's always the guy that just doesn't, I don't think we should do this. I don't want to go on the lake, guys. Right. I mean, that was appropriate. I think it would have been, even if he was scrawny, it just still wouldn't have fit his character to want to go into the lake.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely. When Jules kisses the wolf head on the wall, that was a scene.
That
The
was quite
wolf,
something. Yeah.
the wolf's tongue is covered in powdered sugar to give it a dusty look and to make the scene tolerable for Anne Hutchison.
Oh, so it was sweet. She was like getting it tasted good.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I was sure
Sure.
you got to do what you got to do, right? And
You know, can't be an easy sell to an actress. I mean, you know, it's like, you know, well, part of the role is you got to make out with a taxidermist wolf.
yeah, oh, a severed
Yeah.
wolf head.
Yeah, I mean, she got a little bit of a tougher. I hope she got a little more money than the rest, because
Yeah.
that was, you know, that's going above and beyond the Call of Duty, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And you know what? I bet Chris Hemsworth got the biggest check. Shame on you, Chris.
Well, no, but wait, this was back. This was a young Chris Hemsworth, so maybe he wasn't worth as much then. Maybe,
Yeah, maybe.
probably still worth more than the rest, but whatever. Yeah,
She had to go shirtless too.
she did, but she was the only one, right?
Well, the other guys
Well,
went
the
shirtless too.
guys, but I mean, but the other woman did not have to.
I don't think so. No.
No,
She
I
was
don't think so.
in her underwear. At
Underwear.
the beginning, but
Yeah.
nothing from the waist up.
No, that's right.
Well, moving on.
Okay. Much of Drew Goddard's inspiration for this movie came from his own upbringing in Los Alamos, New Mexico, a place filled with scientists and co-workers all going about their business and living seemingly routine and ordinary lives, even though they were building nuclear weapons that could potentially destroy the entire world. He talks about this in DVD special features, interviews, and commentary. Wow. So you can see the correlation.
Yeah,
You know,
I can see it for sure. And yeah, people do their jobs all humdrum and everything, but they don't really
yeah.
see the impact.
No, and the thing is, whatever your job is, however bizarre of an industry you're in, people will ultimately normalize it and still have humor and stuff. I mean, we see it. We're healthcare workers. I mean, we have morgue humor, right? And that's, to the rest of the world, that might seem awful, right?
Yeah.
But to us, I mean, you know, we deal with it day in and day out. You still got to have laughs. You got to have joy in life, and so you normalize these things, and you know, you make light of it. And so,
you just gotta make it work.
yeah, and I can see for him, you know, what a weird thing. These guys just, you know, showing up with their, hey, Joe, hey, good morning, you know, and all this, and they're going to build nuclear weapons, right? It is. There's something very bizarre about that, right? And
there's an old Looney Tunes cartoon where they have the sheepdog on the hill and the fox trying to steal sheep. And at the beginning of the episode, they clock in. They go, hey, Sam. Hey, Ralph.
That's right.
And then they go and take their position, and they go the whole day. And at the end of the day, they clock out.
They clock out, yeah. Yeah, it's like that.
It's just like
craziness. Yeah. Okay, so anything else we can say about this?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't have anything else written down. I saw angry molesting tree, and I thought I need to write these down. So I wrote them all down, and I was surprised to see sexy witches. But I got nothing else written.
They had to throw anger in there. Like, a molesting tree isn't bad enough, right? But it's not just it's an angry one. So that's just, oh man, yikes! Watch out.
Yeah, watch out, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's it for the cabin in the woods.
Yes.
We might go into some primarily critical selects over the next little while. We'll see what happens with our crew, and I don't. Maybe I might get some guests on here. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
We'll see. It's exciting times at Primarily Critical. Now, that being said, we want Phil, our friend Phil, well, everyone knows Phil, to get better and be back here as soon as possible. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, our hearts are with you, man. That was the Cabin in the Woods. We are Primarily Critical. You're awesome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.